Hi, welcome to my residential lease video. It'll walk you through the lease that you and I will be signing very soon for the unit you're about to rent. Wanted to say thank you for renting with me. I am a very good landlord. We'll try to make your stay as pleasant as possible. And as always, please, if you have any questions on this, call me at 651-278-6160, or you can email me at cranmerhal@hotmail.com. I just want to go over the different paragraphs in the lease so you know exactly what you're signing. I won't get into all the legal mumbo jumbo. Try to just keep it very casual, conversational. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Also, if you want to have legal advice looking at the lease, by all means, I encourage that. So let's get started. The first paragraph here basically tells who you are, who I am, our names. You're the residents, I'm the landlord, the address of the property, and how long the lease is for. The next paragraph shows what you will be paying in rent. There's blocks for the regular rent, if you're getting extra rent for the garage area, for the storage area, and any other rental fees. Generally, I don't charge anything for that. It's all rolled into one rent payment. And the rent's due the first day of the month, beginning whatever month the lease starts. And I would ask you to mail the checks in. I will put the address in this block right here where I mail the checks, but I will also give you 12 stamped self-addressed envelopes to mail the checks in. So all you have to do is put the checks in the envelope and drop it in the mail. Okay, if I don't receive the checks by the 5th of the month, which is what I fill in here, generally I ask for a late fee of $50, which covers the late fee from my bank for their mortgage payment. The the envelope has to be dated the 5th of the month. I don't require it to be to me on the 5th, but I'd like to see the date on the envelope by the 5th. That'll make sure I have it in time to pay the mortgage. And if the check bounces, I would ask for a service charge that's normally $75, and that will cover the processing payment to the bank that they'll charge me for a bounce check. Here it says if you bounce a check, future payments will be in the form of a cashier's check or money order. That's if you bounce two. If you just bounce one, we'll give you a second chance. If you only pay part of the rent, it's still considered late until the full rent is due. And if during an eviction proceeding you still are liable for rent, but I will do everything I can to prevent you from paying excessive rent. Ask you to deposit 1 month's rent generally with me, and before you move in, I get the first month's rent and security deposit. You'll give me three. I'll give you 3 keys, or however many people are in the unit, and at least one garage door opener if you have an automatic garage door. This one says that you may have other people occupying the unit other than someone signing the lease. That could be young children, for instance. If people aren't on the lease in this paragraph or signing the lease, I ask that they don't stay. Anyone staying longer than 30 days over a continuous year, 30 nights, or longer than 14 days consecutively is considered another tenant of the unit. We should talk about it, and I would ask you to notify me of that in writing. Utilities are agreed upon. You pay some, I pay some. This is where we agree on what is paid by whom. Moving on to page 2. This paragraph basically says you will use the premises for a place to live, you won't use it for a business, and you'll follow all city, state, county laws during the term of this lease. You keep the place in reasonably clean and sanitary condition, keep the fixtures in good repair, do any minor maintenance. You won't dispose of any garbage, throw anything out the window, um, and you won't hold hazardous material at all. If you need to move out early and want to assign or sublet the place to someone, I'm okay with that, especially if it's just one roommate moving out. However, I want to know about it, and I'd like to do a background check on the new person, make sure they're okay, because I do have tenants in other units nearby and want to make sure we get good tenants all around. When you move in, you'll pay the month's rent for security deposit, and is some interest. I believe in Minnesota it's 4% interest. That can change, and I'll pay you back at the end of your term if everything looks good. For full return of the security deposit, I would ask that you meet the following obligations. If some government agency or assistance agency help to pay your security deposit, I have to pay them back first. You must leave a forwarding address for me to send the security deposit to. All the rent must be paid, and the property must be left in at least as good, if not better, than move-in condition. And any repair or cleaning fees will be taken out of the security deposit before being assessed against you. If you abandon the property, then I keep the security deposit. On the date you said you'd move out, the property must be clean and empty, and if you're still in it, I may file an eviction notice against you. While you're still in it, you still are required to pay full rent on it, even if you stay past the move-out date. And if I have to use funds from the security deposit, I would ask that they get replaced within 10 days of use. Anything after that time will be applied as outlined later on to replace the security deposit. And if I have to use the security deposit for repairs after you move out, I will subtract that from the security deposit and what's returned to you. At the end of the lease, the lease will automatically renew for month-to-month tenancy, so it'll turn into a month-to-month lease unless we sign a new lease agreement. You give me 60 days written notice prior to moving out, or we agree to terminate it at any time. And I can terminate it any time of the year. If for some reason you suddenly have to move out, I would just ask that you pay rent until I rent the place out or until the lease is over. When you notify me, I need a full 2 months, is this last sentence here. So if you notify me on May 5th, you actually can't move out till July 31st. So if you want to move out June 30th, you should notify me April 30th, April 29th, something like that. When you take possession of the property, when you move in, I would ask you to fill out a move-in, move-out checklist. Don't drill holes in the wall, floor, or ceilings, add or change the lock, or change the property in any way without letting me know. If you want to paint, that's okay. I just want to know what color you want to paint it and make sure it's not something wild and crazy that I can't change out to new residents when you move out. If you don't complete the checklist, then I will assume everything's fine and we'll move on. When you move out, you give me this property same condition as you received it, excluding normal wear and tear, and you can put cable TV in at your own expense. In fact, if you're living in a duplex, you can share that expense with the other people in the duplex. But obviously, don't set up your own cable. Have a professional from normally Comcast does this, and they'll do it professionally. If they ask for a letter to drill some holes in some walls for the property to run the cable, just let me know and I will get you that letter. I will make sure the property's in safe, good condition. I will do walkthrough inspections of the property at least once a month or maybe once every 2 months. I'll let you know about it 24 hours in advance. If it's not a good time, you let me know. However, I would like to be able to walk through it within the next week. Don't do drugs, don't sell drugs, don't do any unlawful things with drugs on the property. If you do it and I find it, I can call the police or have you evicted, or both. So just better not to do it at all. I can terminate the lease if you or friends or visitors or relatives create noisy conditions, especially for the neighbors or my other tenants. You hang things from the doors, windows, porches, and you really annoy the neighbors. Please obey all fire regulations. Don't disable the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And if you're going to use incense, make sure you're real safe about it and don't burn the place down. Park your cars in the garage, driveway, or on the road. If they get towed, it's your problem, and you can dial 311, especially for snow emergencies, and make sure that the you know which side of the street to park on. Don't have an RV, or if you're going to have an RV, let me know about it. I'm not responsible for your property if it gets lost or stolen. Don't place a swimming pool on the property. Don't put a trampoline on the property. Don't have guns on the property. Don't put a waterbed in your bedroom. Make sure you have renter's insurance. Any claims against your property are not covered by my insurance, and so you wouldn't get reimbursed. And please don't lie on the rental application. Hopefully we made it through that process and that's not a problem. And don't be the reason police or fire department's called. If there is a problem that requires police or fire department, please take care of yourself first. Dial 911 and get out of the building if necessary. Then call me. If you call me first, all I'm going to do is dial 911 and we're delaying the process. So please feel free to call them much sooner. This says I can make some additional rules, regulations at any time. I'll notify you in writing on them, but I have yet to do that. Everything I want is covered in this lease. If you guys breach the lease, I have three options. I can ask you to leave right away. If you don't leave, I'll start an eviction. I may ask you to leave by a certain date. If we have a certain date in the future, I would ask you to pay rent until that date, or I can go right to the eviction phase. Hopefully none of that will apply. Your obligations, make sure you follow all the state, federal, county laws. Any repairs that you have to the place, you will pay for, but if it's your fault, if it's my fault or it's just normal wear and tear, I'll take care of that. And if you do get in trouble with the law, I'm not responsible for the fees and any tickets you get or anything like that. My obligation is I will keep the place looking good. All building housing codes I will maintain to the best of my ability. Um, we'll work out insurance, but if you have renter's insurance, my insurance and yours will work together to cover any loss or damages to the property. And this paragraph basically says if I let you slide on one area of the lease, that the rest of the lease is still in force. On the code compliance stuff, you're perfectly within your rights to call the city if you don't like something about the property, but I would just ask as a favor, call me first. Give me a chance to fix it. If I don't fix it, absolutely you should call the city. If there's an emergency, I ask you do notify me, but obviously notify the city and police and fire if you need to first. I will do everything I can to repair the problem quickly, and we'll try to find you accommodation if necessary, but I ask that you still pay rent during this time. I'm going to stop here for a second because YouTube only allows me 15 minutes videos, and I'm getting to 15 minutes, and we'll start up on the second half. Thanks.